Facing the Bruins in that 1990 final, Harry Neal said Game 4 was one of the best games he'd ever seen you play. Would you agree with that, or do you think it was up there?
Yeah, game four, it's amazing. It's a good reminder for me in my broadcasting role now of just how much the game changes. Wayne always said there's three seasons: there's the regular season, there's the playoffs, and then there's the Stanley Cup Final. And the Stanley Cup Final really is a different animal of its own. You could be having an amazing year, from the regular season, have an amazing playoff, but if you don't play well in the final, it changes everything, and all of a sudden you can lose. So this particular one, coming off, uh, we split in or no, we won both games. Sorry, in Boston, and we went and lost a 2-1 tight game in Game 3 on home ice, and
Mm.
it's amazing what the press. And our line hadn't scored a bunch. I think anyways, the pressure. I think it was Mark only had I think an assist or two assists at that point. Our best player, our captain. And I remember the media going, "Well, what's wrong with your line and what's going on?" I said,
Yeah.
"We're up 2-1 in the Stanley Cup Final." But it was a good reminder. So I just remember those moments. There was Game 4 in Chicago in the conference final where Mess was just like outworldly, and having those moments and coming along and playing with him and that Glenn and I on the sides, we just knew Game 4 was going to be our stand. We had to win that game on home ice to go back and have a chance to win. And quite frankly, those are the moments that you think of the most with your teammates. And I got to play with two Hall of Fame guys who were just big game players, and so no question. And even though we were up 2-1, that was a game we had to win. And our line came out and I think scored four of the goals in that game. So it was one that you definitely stands out and you remember.
Well, you were such a key contributor to that. I think they ended up giving Ranford this Conn Smythe Trophy, if I'm not mistaken. But you led the league in playoff scoring that year. Do you remember the Game 5, his goal in Game 5?
Yeah, well, how about this is it ends up being a game winning Stanley Cup game winning goal. My buddies always laugh. I don't remember many goals when I wasn't either on the ice or in the net after the puck went in there. And I ended up playing with Sweeney, who knocked me in there in Buffalo too. But this is a play by Glenn Anderson that is just outworldly. Like, again, the great players we had, and to get a chance to play with Mess and Andy. Watch as this one comes.
Yeah.
Andy scored a beautiful goal earlier on. Mess is getting held in the middle, and Andy a no look
Wow.
pass from behind. I just think that kind of chemistry that we had as a line was pretty special. And that 1990, I said to my dad, the interesting part was I was almost a little depressed after we won. I don't even know how to describe it. The exhilaration of, for me, winning my second Stanley Cup. And as you mentioned, this time, I led the playoffs in goals and points. Mess and I were tied there. I It wasn't that I was depressed that we won the cup. I was a little depressed that I wanted to keep playing. Like you're playing the best hockey of your
Mm.
life. You've dreamt, and I've even the cup in '88 was really special too. And Wayne was so good. Our line was good in that one too. But this one was. I just remember going. I want to keep playing because you never know if you're ever going to get back to that moment again. Never know if you're going to get to play for the Stanley Cup again, and you're never quite sure if your game will ever get to those key moments where you feel so confident and comfortable in the way you're playing. And ultimately it didn't, but I do remember those moments of just thinking how special it was to be playing at that level with so much on the line with guys that you loved, and it was so much fun to play with.